Because if we want to be honest about the whole situation, the CIA is the biggest drug runner in the world.
Right.
But that would take us another show altogether to get into that with the Gary Webb and the Dark Alliance and the
Gary.
Yeah. You familiar with Gary?
Oh, sure. I had him on the program several times and honored him, fortunately, while he was still around for his work, and he paid the ultimate price.
He did.
For telling the truth.
And he committed suicide, right? He shot himself twice in the face with a shotgun.
Yeah. An amazing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think it was a handgun, but in any case.
Oh, was it a handgun? Okay.
Yeah, it was quite a trick. And,
yes. He was suicided. That's what I like to call it.
Sure.
But that would be another whole program in and of itself to talk about that. But yeah, the war on drugs is a total joke. It's kind of like the war on terror. But that's another show in and of itself too.
Yeah,
so, but let me kind of go into a couple of other topics here that will be in the new edition. I think will be very interesting. One I'll have a section on iodine actually.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that iodine is really responsible for the production of pretty much every hormone in your body, and since the mid 1970s, breast cancer rates have been rising, and since the 1970s, it's interesting that the U.S. and several other countries have dropped iodine as an ingredient in most baked goods and have replaced it with bromine. And
really?
So, yes, very interesting. And so I'm going to go into that and into iodine. There's several different types of iodine that you can take, but iodine is an amazing cancer preventative. It's not only antibacterial, antiparasitic, antiviral, anti-cancer, but it is probably the most. It is probably the one substance that's missing in most Americans. I think 96 to 97% of Americans are iodine deficient, and this can lead to breast, prostate, ovarian, uterine, and thyroid cancer. And this is something that most, even cancer researchers, don't know anything about, is the iodine factor. So I'm going to have a chapter on iodine in the next edition of the book. It's going to be very fascinating. I'm learning a lot about it right now as I'm writing.
Very good. And vitamin D, which really isn't a vitamin, but vitamin D has now been shown to actually genetically switch off the cancer in people.
Yes.
It gets in there and turns it off. You take vitamin D, and they're doing experiments with 10, 20,000 units a day. You should take, I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe, but I take 8 to 10 a day, 8 to 10,000 units a day, and I've never felt better.
Oh, Jeff, you gotta watch out for that sun. Be sure that you wear the sunscreen when you go out there.
Yeah, all that poison.
That's what they tell you, though. I mean, and people buy it. We're talking about Americans being brainwashed. People buy it. If a doctor says it, people buy it. But there's so much fraud in medical research; it's unbelievable. Are you familiar with the recent story about Dr. Scott Reuben?
No.
Okay, so. Scott Reuben was a former member of Pfizer's Speakers Bureau, and he's pleading guilty. This was as of about a month ago. I read this article. He's pleading guilty to faking dozens of research studies that were published in medical journals. He was one of the guys that was studying Celebrex back in 2005. And his research was the top research study that was published in medical journals and has since then been quoted in hundreds of other journals and by doctors and researchers as proof that Celebrex helps to reduce pain during post-surgical recovery. There's only one problem with all this, okay? Dr. Reuben never had any patients enrolled in the study. He has now admitted that it turns out he faked the entire study and he got it published anyway.
Right.
But we believe this because it's in medical journals.
Of course.
He also faked a study on VIOXX, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah,
so,
these are arch criminals responsible for the deaths of countless thousands of people.
They are.
There's
they are.
Another new book out called SideEffectsDeath.com. Side Effects Death is the name of the book, SideEffectsDeath.com, by Mr. John Virapen. And John Virapen was the highest-ranking member of Big Pharma to ever go public. Same kind of story.
I've seen him interviewed.
Yeah, I had him first on the program here. He did his first radio program on February the 9th, and you can hear it in the archives. I had it up for a free listen for a long time. He is absolutely an incredibly brave man. He's responsible for getting Prozac approved in Sweden and several other places in Europe. He shilled for the big pharma, lied, he knew, and he couldn't live with himself. He went public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet that's a fascinating book. I'm going to have to get that.
Yeah, Side Effects, Death. That's the name of it.
Okay.
Do read it. It's the most inside account of what goes on with Big Pharma you'll ever hear. He was just stunning to hear. So
well, that is standard procedure for Big Pharma. It's not about the truth.
It's all
about pushing
money.
Their agenda.
Their money. Everybody's got a price, or they get threatened, blackmailed, bribed. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
They go right along, just like Congress. Just like the whole paradigm in which we live now is amoral. It's the antithesis of the values that we were taught as children, or should have been taught as children anyway.
Yes,
and when you have all this fear-driven paranoia and peer pressure on our young people, how do you wake up an intellect that's dead? And I never grew. It's beyond me. I don't think you can. It's
impossible almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't even speak our language, Ty. They just don't. Words don't mean the same to them. We talk about values. They don't even know what they are. They do not know. They might as well be from another planet. They don't understand what we're talking about. And furthermore, they don't want to know. Oh, that's old-fashioned. Nobody does that anymore. And essentially, they have a point. It is old-fashioned, and not too many people use those morals anymore. That's the sad truth of it. So we are finding ourselves in an ever-shrinking minority. That means we have to try even harder, which is exactly what you're doing. You've got kids.
Yes. I have 3 as of 2 weeks ago, and now we have 4.
Does your wife know about this?
She was actually there when the 4th one came, believe it or not. Yeah.
All right.
We just had our 3rd baby girl 2 weeks ago. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Homeschool them?
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. Wouldn't have it any other way. They're going to be taught our values, and they're not going to be taught by people that not only don't care about them, but want to corrupt them. We will not allow that to happen.
Oh, that's their absolute sworn agenda, to destroy and corrupt them. Sure. Train them to respond. Train them to be reactive, not proactive. Train them to obey. Train them to stay in line. I'm just so sickened when I read stories like that. 75% of young kids in UK, teens, listen to music that their friends tell them they should listen to, that they don't make their own decisions. They're so afraid of being ejected. And then you have kids who are truly intelligent, they're gifted, and they're dumbing themselves down so they can have friends.
So they can be cool.
They can be cool.
Yep.
They flunk tests, they do poorly, they turn their back on their God-given intelligence so they can have friends and be cool. It's appalling. All right, one final comment from you, if you would, sir. We have about 30 seconds.
Well, thank you again, Jeff. As always, it's been a pleasure.
Sure.
The hour goes by in no time. I can't believe it's already over, but thank you again for having me. I always enjoy speaking with you, and I look forward to doing it again sometime. This is great. Best to you, and we'll hook up again soon.
Thank you. Let me know when the book comes out.
Will do. I'll be sending you an autographed copy when it's out.
Thank you, my friend. All right. Good night, Ty.
Take care, Jeff.
All right. Ty Bollinger, and he is an amazing man. Do go to his website, please. Consider getting that book. You're going to face cancer, either you or someone you love, and you might as well have the best possible information to go through to try to understand what you're up against and what your options, capital O, your options really are. And they are amazing. The book is entitled Cancer, Step Outside the Box. All right, we'll be back in 21 hours. See you then.